Hey guys, just want to thank you for your support as I share these videos. I just figure, people ask enough questions or ask the same questions often enough that sometimes it just makes it easier that you just, give a chance to get a link, press play, and get that answered. So, plus I'm kind of traveling all over the place, so sometimes it's a little bit easier to send a link over your way than to type all of that information out when you're messaging me on social media. So thank you for your support. Thank you for showing your love on this page and also on my social media pages of, Facebook and Instagram, and on our private group pages too. I shouldn't say ours because they're not all nutrients. They're, stylists just like you and I who use the line. So, so if you, continue to like these videos, I'm gonna be that girl, click subscribe. And if you wanna be one of the first to receive the videos as soon as I release them, then click the little bell after that and you'll get the notification as soon as I post them. So today's conversation is all about KERATINT, but I'm also going to talk a little bit about the cream line just so that we can fully understand where KERATINT lives. And but the biggest thing is, yes, we'll talk about toning, but we're going to expand even further than that on what all you can do with KERATINT, because it's not just for toning. So, so let's just hop right to it. So let's talk about alkalinity. So alkalinity is what is used in your color. So whether it comes in a tube or a bottle or a gel or cream, liquid, whatever it is, that wherever the pigment sits, that's where your alkalinity is. And then you have your developer. So the cream line uses a cream developer, the liquid line uses a liquid developer. Okay, so when KERATINT came out, everyone was already using the cream line. And the cream line is a very, very, very low ammonia line, very low ammonia. And this came out, this is an ammonia-free line, and the liquid is called KERATINT, for those of you that don't know. So this is ammonia-free, and so this came out as a glaze, as a toner, as a gloss, because everyone was already using this. But this also came out with Demi Plus, which is 10 volume, came out with, there's 20 volume, and there's also 40 volume. There's not a 30 volume, but hell, we know how to make that out of a 20 and 40, right? So, the question I often get is, if this is a Demi Zero Lift color glaze, as it says right on the bottle, color glaze, then why is there a 20 and 40 volume? And so the answer to that is they are the same. They both have an alkaline and they both have all developers. So this can be used as a Demi because then you'll use it with the CPL developer, which is 5 volume. This can be used as a Demi with a Demi developer, which is also 5 volume. Now, I find that at least most of the lines that I've used in the past, Demi developers are about a 6 or 7 volume. And just remember too, whenever you use a developer, there's always going to be that little bit of risk of, changing up their base just a little bit, not necessarily into a full base break, but you're always going to have that. The only way you're going to get around that is if you use like a purple shampoo, a purple conditioner or something, because there's no developer mixed with it, because those are direct dyes. But oxidative dyes need a developer, therefore there's always going to be that little chance. But anyway, moving forward, our Demi developers are 5 volume, so they're not 6 or 7 volume, but they're 5 volume, so there's even less of a chance of shifting that base at all when you're toning and they have a natural base. So the biggest thing is this can be used as a Demi. You use a Demi developer, which is 5 volume. This can be used with 10 volume. This can be used with 20 volume. This can be used with 25 volume. This has 30 volume. This has 40 volume, okay? And again, this has Demi developer, which is 5 volume. It has Demi Plus, which is 10 volume. It has 20 volume, and it has 40 volume. So really, they're exactly the same. One is low ammonia, one is no ammonia. So we have a low ammonia line and we have an ammonia-free line. But, so here's what I beg of you. Whenever you are shopping for an ammonia-free line, so maybe you're just deciding that I want to be an ammonia-free stylist. Maybe you're deciding that I want to be an ammonia-free salon. Or maybe you're just shopping because you have a handful of clients that are asking for ammonia-free color or inquiring about it. Well, Dorothy, you've had these ruby slippers to be used this whole time. So you've had this power the whole time. If you've been carrying KERATINT, this is your ammonia-free color, and here's your 20 volume. So you had the power the whole time. So, you know, there's a shift happening in the industry. You know, we are so health conscious. We know more about foods than we've ever known, you know, and their health benefits and such. So we do have clients that are inquiring about what's with these ammonia-free lines. Do you have such thing? And maybe you didn't know. Here it is. So the other great thing is, if you're used to using this line, these are all the same colors. So it uses a different alkaline. This one uses low ammonia. This has all the same colors that this does, except this one is in every other. So let me get out the Swatch Book here. Swatch Book. If you have the cream line, you already have the Swatch Book. If you only have the KERATINT line, you might just have a ring, but I highly recommend you get the Swatch Book, because the Swatch Book has all of the information on both inside covers of tips and tricks, and also the chemistry, you know, kind of behind it too. But the biggest thing for me is having the color wheel and having the undertones to work with. So when you look at these swatches, what the ring doesn't share is, you know, what is the undertones of each color. So this Cool Slate series is blue olive, so it's your blue green. So you kind of need to know those things, especially because, you know, we're formulating color, we're playing with undertones, and we need to know what's canceling out what and what lives inside of these colors. So the other thing is, something you may not have noticed if you've already had the book, is that the ones that are in the KERATINT, which I said is even numbers only, it has a little tiny itty bitty little K next to it. So here's a K, here's the K, here's a K. So this is in 2, oh, it's not in 4, 2, 6, and 8. Here's the Cool series. So this is blue, violet, as it says underneath here. And it's in the 4, it's in the 6, it's in the 8, it's in the 10. So it's already in there so that you know what, you know, comes in the KERATINT, except for the fact that the NE series, we have all of them. So, but let's talk about NE and N. So, well, just because we're on the subject and it goes with both of them. And so NE is our PPD free line. So if you have somebody with an allergy, you know, it's kind of like the gluten-free thing right now. And I am one of them. So I don't have the actual allergy, but I have the sensitivity. So I am gluten-free. You know, I've been gluten-free for, I don't know, 4 years or so. And so the amount of people who are actually allergic to PPD aren't that many, but then you have your sensitivity ones. So if someone is allergic, they're not coloring their hair anyway. So this is for that rare situation of, you know, like, hey, my daughter's getting married next month and I really don't want to be gray, so I want to be able to color my hair. So obviously you'll always start off with a patch test just to be sure that they're not going to, you know, be sensitive or reactive, because typically, you know, there's other allergies too. So I'm always going to recommend that, but at least they have an option out, and it comes in neutral, which is the one we use the most. But we also have N. So my biggest tip for you is, if you're coming in from another line and you were using 6N on that client before in your other line, be sure you're using NE in our line, because chances are the 6N that you were using over there was a neutral. So if you're using a neutral over there, use a neutral over here. Our 6N is a natural, not neutral. So it's warmer. So you'll be really upset if you come in from that other line using a neutral that's cooler, and you come over here using the N, your result's gonna be warmer and you're probably not gonna like it. So come from neutral, go to neutral. It's just labeled differently, you know, our 6N, our NE. So go to NE, okay? Now, if there is no allergy, no sensitivity, you can mix these NEs with anything in the book, okay? But if there's an allergy, you stick to the PPD free one, just NE, okay? So I think we've got that. Okay, so let's come back to this. let's talk about alkalinity again. Alkalinity. This one uses very low ammonia. This one uses AMP. So what does that mean to us? Well, in the industry, as of right now, there's only 3 options for alkalinities that you can use. One is ammonia. Well, 4 options. One is ammonia, one is MEA, one is DEA, and then one is AMP, okay? So if you get rid of ammonia, I want you to ask the companies or ask a salesperson, and you're shopping for ammonia-free, ask them what they've replaced ammonia with. That's the most important part, because typically if you're trying to go ammonia-free, you're trying to go for healthier reasons. Healthier options, excuse me. So take ammonia out of the equation. We can market all day and we can go, oh, we're ammonia-free, we're ammonia-free, we're ammonia-free. And we're just going to assume, because we don't know, we're going to assume that must be a healthier version. Now, our only ammonia-free options are MEA, DEA, and AMP. And to be completely honest, DEA isn't even like really used anymore. Maybe in an old line that's not really evolving in color or evolving in the industry, you might find a DEA. But so typically, so you have 2 options. You have MEA and you have AMP. MEA, about 10 years ago when it became, you know, a buzz thing to do, to be an ammonia-free color line, that's what they came out with, the replacement. It was MEA. And to be completely honest, it's actually costs less to use MEA. But unfortunately, we've been a little bit misled in that, and it actually has some more harmful effects to it, you know, that are affecting our health and such. And so it really bums me out, because as our industry is in this theme of we did only what we knew, and when we knew better, we did better, you know, and we're taking on that same theme as stylists, and we're really just kind of cleaning up our industry and becoming, you know, more green. It hurts my heart to think you're headed into something healthier by going ammonia-free, but then the line might be MEA. So do your homework on that. If you Google MEA alkaline, the actual long term will come up on it, and there's like studies, there's tons of information on it. I really encourage you to dig into it and kind of educate yourself on that. For me personally, I am super grateful that Chuck has decided to use AMP as a replacement. That one's not having the leads to it, or to, you know, that kind of health. You know, and as our technology evolves, you know, maybe there's going to be more options in the future. It surprises me that there's only this few, you know, options to replace ammonia. But that's what I love about the industry. It just continues to evolve. So, with that being said, now we know if we're shopping ammonia-free, we need to follow that up with what is the ammonia replaced with? You know, what is the alkaline that you're using? Because if you take that out, you need to replace it with something. You can't just leave it without alkalinity. It wouldn't do its job. So, so definitely do that. Okay, so here's the other thing with that. So if you take on an ammonia-free line, you know that ammonia-free alkalins are not going to be as strong and have as much bite as ammonia. Even at a very, very low ammonia, this will still have your better bite for gray coverage. Ammonia-free isn't going to be as high of an alkalinity, so it's just not, it can't guarantee full coverage. But let me tell you this, I have plenty of clients that I use this 20 volume, 100% white, I get 100% gray coverage. But it's a conversation I have in the beginning of the appointment where I'm telling them, okay, by going ammonia-free, I can fully support that. I will never argue that. I will always support that when a client asks for that, or when a stylist wants that or a salon wants that, I will always fully support that. But it's a conversation that I have. When we go ammonia-free, we're dropping our alkalinity levels. So if you were over here and you were covering their hair with 6G and 20 volume and you were getting 100% coverage, then over here, you may need to bump this up because the alkalinity just isn't as strong and mighty as this one is, okay? So then we bump up our developer just to try to, you know, get more into the hair, I suppose. So in that case, I might make that a 30 volume by mixing my 20 and 40 to do this. But like I said, I have plenty of clients, 100% white, and I use this in 20 volume and I get 100% coverage. But I do have a few clients who have, you know, a larger diameter of hair. It's a more coarse hair. I'm not talking about density. I'm not talking about how many hairs are on their head. I'm talking about the diameter of their hair is more coarse and large. So in their cases, I'm still using this, but I'm getting a blended coverage. Now, for me in that case, it ends up it works out because they are a more natural client. They have a more natural lifestyle. They want a more natural option, and they want a more natural look. So that blended coverage is giving them a more graceful grow out. It's softer, they're not having to come in as often, and they feel better about the choices that they've made to be ammonia free. And so that's great. But if they wanted 100% coverage, I would always start with 20 volume. We'd have that conversation in the beginning that I'm not going to guarantee it, but we should at least get blended coverage. But then next time I might bump that up and then get my full coverage. So now that you understand how to formulate it, if you wanted to take this on as a full line or as just as an option, now you know how to formulate it according and kind of know what to expect, you know, for your predictability. So I think that answers kind of everything. The biggest fun aha moment of it all is really just realizing that they're really both the same thing. You know, you can make them both demi, you can make them both 10 volume, 20 volume, 40 volume. The only thing is this alkalinity is going to be a little bit higher, this one not so much. So maybe you're in a case where you don't want to expose so much warmth because you're just having such a crazy time, you know, trying to control it. So maybe you're going to start using this instead of this. So that's an idea. Or maybe you just have a client who wants to be ammonia free. Maybe she just finished chemo and this is where you want to start, a lower alkalinity. Or maybe she's an all natural kind of client. She wants to color her hair and she wants to go here. You know, Dorothy, you've had the power this whole time. You just didn't know how to use it yet. So that's what you get to do with this. I love it. I love having the versatility. I love that, you know, Chuck, the man of the company, has created all of these tools for us. And just like this has been organic for about 30 years or however long he's had this line out, this has been an ammonia-free option with, you know, 10, 20, 40 volume this whole time. So I think that's great. So before organic was cool, we were organic. Before ammonia-free was cool, we were ammonia-free. So I think that's fantastic. You know, it's just more and more expansion, more and more possibilities, and I just love what that does for me as a colorist, and you know, the limits that I don't have and all of these extra lines I don't have to take on because I already know the colors here. I can use the same colors here. It's phenomenal. So lastly, I'm going to set this aside for a moment and let's talk about toning. And I guess I say on this because I use this for toning, but you can use this for toning too because this can be made as deposit only also. I just personally don't because it does a little bit, you know, of a stronger alkalinity than this. And in the case that I'm just doing highlights and I don't want that base to budge at all, then I use this because it's lower alkalinity. I'm going to get my deposit only and that's it. But I know majority of people are using this for everything, including toning, and not having any issues. So let's talk about toning. Let's just say that I used to use a line that was like crack, and I'm not going to drop any brand names, but it came in a little bottle like this. Okay, it was liquid developer. That's what I toned with. So those of you that use or use that line too, you know which line I'm talking about. So we'll just say that. So here's our unspoken understanding. Okay, here's the deal though. So that was like crack in the fact that I knew what the culture of that line was. So I knew that I create my toner, I put it on, you know, all of the highlights that I just did today. I don't let it touch the ends, and I put it on their hair, I watch it, I don't blink, I rinse when I'm done, right? That's how you do it. And then I also know that I know that the toner doesn't last. I know the rule of however many minutes you left it on is however many washes it'll make it to. Well, sometimes, you know, I only had it on for 45 seconds. Sometimes I only had it on for 2 minutes. At the most, maybe like 8 minutes. This you can leave on. I mean, the directions say 5 to 35 minutes, which really tells us nothing. But I tone and I leave this on for 15 minutes every time. Now, part of that is what kind of gave me, like I was doing the stiff arm on, like, I don't have 15 minutes. I'm used to putting it on, leave it on for a couple minutes and I'm done. Rinse it off and go. And, but then I also knew, so my culture was, we did blonding today, we toned today. She comes in for her mid appointment, and then we tone then and a blowout. And then her next appointment was blonding again, toning. So every other appointment was blonding, every appointment was toning, because I knew that toner didn't last. But, you know, and if they didn't come in for that middle appointment, then I was sending them home with purple shampoo, you know, or a purple conditioner, whichever one it was. And so what I ended up finding out was when I switched to this, that extra 15 minutes was super awkward at first because I really didn't know how to incorporate that into my appointments or into my culture of toning. But what I found was clients were calling for that mid appointment and canceling. My hair looks great, let Jen know, I'll see her at my blonding appointment. And so then I started thinking, now wait a minute, now I'm losing because I'm losing that middle appointment with her. And then I was thinking, but wait a minute, 15 minutes that I leave this on, which is maybe only, I don't know, how to see, 7 minutes, 7 minutes longer than the longest I processed the other stuff. So for 15 minutes total, I don't have to have that appointment trying to fit into my schedule. How many half-hour appointments I was fitting in my schedule, you know, for that mid appointment to come in for a toner, blowout, and go. I was free of that. So more and more people kept canceling, going like, my hair's fine, it looks great, I don't need this appointment, I'll see her at the blonding appointment. And so I was like, wait a minute, this is actually saving me money. So I'm only adding this much more time. And so if I would, you know, just kind of zoom out a little bit, you know, and look at the week and look at the month as a whole, I was making more money to have a product that sat on there longer and made the toner last a lot longer too. So I was like, hallelujah, you know, time is money. We've got to keep going, we got to keep going. And it's difficult to try to fit in a half-hour appointment when your day is booked. And so that's just what I did. So, but please know, this is your disclaimer. When we've used that other line, we know when to rinse by watching it. So when I said we put it on, we watch it, we don't blink, we rinse, okay? That starts going dark, we're rinsing immediately. Don't do that when you have this. Trust your formulation and just let it sit 15 minutes. This will get dark. Your level 10 will start looking like a level 6 and you'll say, oh shit, you'll rinse it off and then you'll go, oh geez. All right, I'll be back. I have to go mix again and put it on. Because you'll go to rinse it off and you're like, oh, it didn't even do anything yet. Save yourself the time. I'm telling you this ahead of time from experience. Let it sit its full 15 minutes and just trust your formulation. And just let it do its job. But don't rinse it off too early because that's the culture of what we knew using the other line that you don't have to do with this. So just trust it and just don't watch it because it'll freak you out. Because you will be like, she said not to rinse it. She said not to rinse it. Oh my gosh. And then you rinse it anyway. And then you're like, okay, I should have listened. She was right. So I can't say it enough. I'm trying to save you on some time. Okay. Okay. So that's my spiel. Use whatever developer, use whatever developer. Use it as demi, use it as demi. Use it to cover gray, use it to cover gray. They're the same. This whole time, they were the same. And you are good to go. So, just so you know, next video is going to be all about direct dyes. I'm going to rock your freaking world with it. This whole line is free of direct dyes. These two lines, I should say. Whole line, they're two separate ones. They are free of direct dyes. It has changed my world as a colorist. I didn't even know that I had been working with direct dyes with all these other companies before. And I've been using this for like 8 years now. I came into this line because of the word organic. I will never leave because it is free of direct dyes and everything covers gray. So we're gonna get into conversation about direct dyes. It's gonna knock your socks off. I promise you that, because all of these years that we have been doing all of these rules with hair color, this whole time it was because of the behavior of direct dyes. And now that I'm free of that, there's so much more I can do with color. I just had no idea. I thought those were just the rules of color. There's just the, blindly we get to be robots. We are, just doing color the way we've always done it. There are rules that you're probably still doing if you're using this line already. You're still doing them because that's the way we've always done color. But I'm about to knock your socks off on how much more you can do, how many things you don't have to worry about anymore, how many things you don't have to formulate around anymore. That's going to be in a direct dye video. So let's talk about that next, and I'm excited to see you guys. So please join me back again and click subscribe, click the little bell if you want to be notified when I post a video, and I will see you next time. Thanks for supporting me, guys. See ya.